Emily Golding Ellis was inspired by dance films as a child. She discovered that she was truly passionate about street dance styles and became part of a breakdance battle crew in Bristol. She travelled abroad to the US to continue and develop her dance training before returning to the UK to build her career as a professional dancer and choreographer out of London. She's performed for some of the biggest brands and shows, including Dancing on Ice, Nike, Glastonbury, Lollapalooza, Fenty Beauty, London Fashion Week, and toured, performed and choreographed for Bring Me the Horizon, just to name a few. She wishes she could bottle that rush that a dancer experiences when about to perform. Please welcome the dynamo that is Emily Golding Ellis.
The greatest showwoman.
Well, firstly, and I say this every time, welcome, Emily.
Thank you.
Lovely to have you on the podcast. So I always ask this kind of question at the beginning because I think it's really interesting to hear about what you were like as a child. So even before, I think I read somewhere that you got into dance at 13.
Yeah, that was when I sort of took it serious.
Yeah, so what were you like before then? Like, what were you like as a child? Did you grow up in the country? Did you grow up in the city? Did you?
Yeah, so I literally grew up in the sticks of like fields and cows.
Yeah. Nice.
So that's where I grew up. So I had to learn to drive like straight away at 17 because there was no buses. It was either mum or dad or but like how are you getting there
the
kind
cows.
of thing.
Yeah.
All the cows. Get on a cow.
Yeah. Talk to the cows.
Yeah. So yeah, it was super, super rural. I, as a child, in terms of like school, my parents always really pushed like education with us, but not it was in like a fun way. Like my dad always used to help us with school and mum would be there as well. Like it was, I had a really, really good upbringing. Like I literally can't even complain. It was like
So how many
10.
siblings do you have?
Just one sister.
Okay, so did you play outdoors a lot? Sounds
Yeah, we
like.
did.
Yeah.
We played with the boys who live next door, and we do like, I don't know if you know Kick the Can. Do you know Kick the Can?
Is it just what it sounds like?
Yeah, it's just like an outdoor game where you like have to run and you get to this can. I used to roller skate outside. We were a bit like tomboyish, to be honest, me and my sister, because we used to play with the boys next door and they always used to like really like outdoorsy kind of things. So we were quite like that, and dad always put us in like physical sports. Like we did karate, we did a lot of hockey, athletics. Like we were we were just really active kids basically.
Yeah, really sporty.
Yeah.
And did you like karate?
Yeah, I did, but it's so annoying. I literally stopped one belt before black belt. Yeah,
then you would have been able to say, I got a black belt.
I know. I'm like brown. No,
brown belt just doesn't have the same
not giving,
ring,
is
does
it?
No.
I did really enjoy it, but that was at the point where I was kind of getting into dance more and enjoying dance and athletics because I was either going to be an athlete or a dancer, so it was between those two things. Karate kind of gave because I never thought that would be what I'd do long term.
Right.
But yeah, it was great. It was nice for me and my sister to do it and like bond with my dad because he'd always done it. He still does Tai Chi and stuff now. So yeah.
Amazing. And so then you started getting into dance. Was there something that like triggered or spiked your interest in dance? Like did you see a show or you saw someone or music videos? Like I don't know.
I remember I was watching Top of the Pops and just seeing these people in the background dancing with the artists there. But then all the films were like coming out. Like Honey was major. I was like, I'm going to be Honey.
Yeah.
I'm literally going to be
like
Honey.
that
Yeah, Honey. What was the other one?
Step Up?
Yeah, Step Up. But there was another one with Omarion. I can't remember what it was called. It'll come to me.
Yeah.
It was it's a really obvious.
What about Rise? Did you see that about the Crumpers culture?
Yeah, I think so.
Shot by Dave LaChapelle, was it? I think. It's really amazing footage, like in those huge drains, and they're all like crumping.
I feel like I probably definitely would have seen that.
Yeah, like, that was super inspiring.
Yeah. All of those kind of films for me, I was like, because I was really into street dance. I did like ballet and stuff like that, but street dance and the music of street dance for me was like, this is home.
Yeah.
This is home. Yeah, because I used to just cry in ballet. I would just cry all the time. Mum would be like, "Why are you crying?" I don't know, something in my soul was like not, just not vibing with it. But
right,
yeah,
it's good training though. Like, how long did you do ballet? Because it helps with your posture and you'd like grace and all of that.
I did ballet for ages. I did it for years. Kind of a bit on and offy though. And then I went more into street dance. But then when I went to uni, it was a ballet and contemporary course. So it's always been part of my training, just kind of on the subtleties of it. Yeah.
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 Not driven by passion. Yeah.
Driven by just because that's what
Just
you need.
discipline. Yeah. So, because you grew up in Bristol, did they have street dance back then, like available? Like, did you start out there, or was it when you went to uni?
Bristol was like the hub for it for me. I started off in a I actually had a boyfriend at college, and he was part of a dance group called Jam, and he was a b-boy, and we kind of connected because I was on the dance squad for the basketball team at college.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, somehow we kind of connected in the studio one day, and then I met his friends, and then I started getting involved in Jam, and they were proper like battle heads.
Right.
So like Frankie J, who's now amazing house head, Kieran, he does light feet. The whole crew are like still to this day like sick battlers.
Yeah,
so
that's
for me to
amazing.
start off with that was like at the time you don't know because they're just my college friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, in hindsight, I'm like, wow, that really gave me the tools to be able to like freestyle confidently today.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen your freestyling. It's amazing. Like literally, it's so
Oh,
good.
thank
You should
you.
check her out on YouTube.
Thank you.
It's amazing. So you got your BA honours in dance, and then I heard you trained over at the Broadway Dance Centre in New York, and then somewhere in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And
So
how did that compare? Like, and what age were you when you went over there?
So I was actually I really didn't enjoy uni. Like I was gonna leave uni. I was like, this is not for me. Like I wanted to be dancing all day, every day, and I just found that there wasn't much contact time. I was doing a lot of writing, and I just was like, I need to be moving, I need to be dancing. So after my first year, I was like, I know that this course has study abroad option, so I need to go. Otherwise, I'm going completely.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a course in North Carolina in America. As soon as I got there, I was like, oh my gosh, I just
This
love
is it.
American people.
Right.
It's just something about the energy and the
Yeah.
culture and the vibes. I remember I turned up to the college at like midday or something on my first day, and it was just all these American football players, cheerleaders. It was like exactly what you
Like
would
the
think.
movies.
Yeah. So I trained there. That was like ballet MT kind of course out there. And then I did some traveling, which is when I went to Broadway Dance Centre and did some classes and things like that. I just really enjoy America. Like I've always enjoyed going back and forth. So I'd hope that would be something that would continue to happen in the future, even now with my career working back and forth America.
Yeah. And how did you find like their training style over there compared to the UK? Because you know how America's kind of renowned for being like uber disciplined when it comes to sports, dance, like really intense discipline. Did you feel that? Or
I feel like in America, there's a lot more room for you to be massively expressive in who you are independently as a dancer. Like you can be so loud in who you are. Whereas here, I feel like you either get put in a box or you have to make yourself try to fit into a box to be more of a mass collective in how you perform. There are opportunities for individuality here, 100%, but it feels a little bit more like you have to go for gold in that independent route or you become part of the masses.
right.
So yeah, that was the main thing. Even now when I go to LA and I'm in a class, everyone's going for it from the jump with their freestyles before the choreo begins. Like it's like hell for leather, which I adore. Whereas I think sometimes here, just whether it's a British culture thing, I think we can be a bit more timid and we'll go for it when we're told it's okay to go for it.
Yeah.
Like we need permission.
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But also I think there's that, it's true that with Americans, they celebrate individuality. Like it's really like, you go, girl. You know, and over here it's like, show off, or
She's doing too
like,
much.
Yeah, like attention seeker or whatever. I get that.
Yeah.
So you've performed on TV, in theatre shows for many big name brands, including Dancing on Ice, Nike, London Fashion Week, Fenty Beauty, Thriller, Channel 4, Ferrari, and the list goes on and on. You've performed at huge festivals, including Glastonbury, BBC Radio 1, Big Weekend, Lollapalooza, and you've toured and choreographed for Bring Me the Horizon. So can you tell us a bit about what it's like being on those huge stages?
It's just, I always say that I wish that I could bottle up the feeling of it and then just take that when, like, I'm not in that situation anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's this sort of high that you can't explain. and it almost makes up for all the hard work that you put in to the whole journey of being a dancer. Like those moments you literally cannot put a price on. It's like kid at Christmas, just exactly where you need to be, adrenaline rush, and you just get through it and you look out and you see, like, it's just a sea of heads for like miles and miles and miles and miles, and there's people and they're all screaming. It's the best experience ever. Like, it's
Amazing.
my high. Like, I don't feel like I need, I mean, I love sweets, but I don't really feel like I need like any sort of drink or drug to get me to that place. Like, dance is my thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, being on those stages where you get to experience that and like you just hear the crowd roar is just insane.
Yeah. It's amazing. What's been your favourite gig?
Oh my gosh. What has been my favourite gig? Oh, it's so hard. There's so many.
Or like a standout, a peculiar location, or
Yeah, standout. I mean, there was a really full circle one where obviously I was working with Bring Me, and then they ended up doing a collab with Ed Sheeran. So then it meant like, and I didn't know that they were doing that because I was hired for Ed.
right.
And then I get to the rehearsals and I'm like, wait, why is like Ollie, the lead singer of Bring Me, why is his voice on this track? Like, this is Ed's Bad Habits.
Yeah.
And then the choreographer was like, yeah, you know them. They're doing it's a collab between the two. And I didn't even know. I wasn't hired off the basis of them or anything. So it was just this beautiful full circle moment where it all came together.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
amazing.
crazy.
And have you had, dare I ask, have you had like, what's your worst gig that you've done? Like,
Ooh, worst.
like maybe there was a horrible malfunction, or you injured or fell off the stage or something.
Oh God, worst gig. I mean, there's been some ones where I've just been like our dressing room has been like a toilet.
Oh
or
yeah,
like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
It's
We've all been there.
I remember me and my friend once we were dancing in this restaurant years ago, and yeah, we got there and they were like, okay, there you go, and they just opened this door to this toilet, and we were like, is this our holding area? Is this the thing? And we were in there and we were literally busting up laughing, like, is this really where we're getting changed, where everyone's just coming to like take a dump? Like,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's moments like that where you just eye roll and you think, wow, this industry has such extremes. Like, I remember one time after dancing on ice, I'd done it and then I came home and I was just like having a cup of tea. And I was like, this can't be right for your body that you go from that to such normality. It humbles you, this industry.
Oh, for sure.
Because you're right at the top, and then as soon as you've done that, you go straight back down to hustle again.
That's right. Well, that saying, you're only as good as your next job,
Yeah,
is so true, isn't it? Because you never know what's next. Like, I don't know if a lot of people don't realise, but when you're in the creative arts, it is generally freelance work because you're going contract to contract constantly. So you don't know necessarily when the next is. Obviously, you get to a point in your career where it's like, okay, now I'm well known enough that something will come through sooner or later. But a lot of people freak out when I tell them about that. They're like, how do you live like that? And I'm like, I don't know. I've been here for 20 years. Yeah. So like, I'm pretty okay with it by now, you know, like.
Have to be fine with that, like, instability, uncertainty all the time. But that's part of the thrill, I feel like.
I think so too. Yeah. And because it keeps the work, it's different all the time.
Yeah.
You don't get like stuck in a sort of the rut of a routine. And,
no.
Yeah.
Because I feel like for me personally, there's definitely a time in my life where I'll want more structure and routine. But I just think whilst I'm young and I have this level of freedom, like, why not make the most of just pushing it to see how far it can get? Yeah.
So you've toured with Bring Me the Horizon. Have you had any other like tours?
Well, this year, that's the plan. That's the plan, yeah.
More
this
tours.
Is the year of, like, artists, working with, different artists, different music artists as well. I'm really trying to channel my energy into at the moment, whether that be through dancing or choreography or both. Yeah. I just love, there's something about working with artists that is, you feel like you're part of their creation process and their vision. Like, I remember there'd be times we were on tour and sometimes they'd like write segments into their tracks as like a dance breakdown for us, or like there'd be certain visual costumes that they'd send to us, and you just feel like you're part of what they're trying to create, and it's so fun.
Yeah, that's amazing. And is there a particular dance style that is your favourite to perform?
I feel like it's music led for me.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
be
yeah.
honest. Yeah, it's really music led. Because I could say like, oh, hip hop or commercial, but then you can play me the most gorgeous like acoustic song with vocals to the sky, and then it will make me want to move in that
Like a
way, in that more
contemporary,
contemporary manner.
yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I'm super music led, but freestyle gives me an adrenaline rush. I love doing that because you're thrown into, you don't even know what you've just done half the time.
Yeah.
It's like what is it they say when you're in like a flow state?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
get that. And also, like, you know, when you learn a choreography is cool because when you master it, it can feel great. But yeah, if I had to put something at the top, it would be music led freestyle, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. It's so awesome with that flow state. Have you ever watched back footage of your freestyles and just be like, oh, that's what I did?
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe, whoa, okay,
Yeah.
well, that was cool. What did I do there? I've got to rewind and
100%.
check it
I do
out.
that all the time because I judge quite a lot of comps at the minute and we have to do judge showcase.
Yeah, yeah.
And every time before, I've got no idea what I'm doing, like
Yeah.
what I'm going to do, or I just know the track that I've picked.
Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes things come out and I will look back and I'll be like, I don't even remember doing that.
yeah.
Like, I thought, that's a nice combo that is, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll keep
Actually,
that.
like, take a note of that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Or sometimes I look back and be like, I won't do that again.
Yeah, yeah. Whoopsie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you had any injuries or accidents?
I actually didn't. And then in lockdown, which is probably the best time ever, I was doing like sprints up a hill. And I pulled, it was quite minor, but I pulled my right hamstring. And that was the first time in my whole career I'd ever had anything.
Wow.
And it was just like a stupid, silly accident, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like an 8-weeker in terms of like repair on it. And that just sort of solidified to me, like, even when you're out having fun and doing other sports, you still got to be so careful because this is my income.
Yes, yeah.
Like, this doesn't
Right,
work.
your body. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, nothing, touch wood, nothing that's been crazy.
Yeah.
And thank God it happened in lockdown because it didn't really interrupt anything.
Yeah, any work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. So do you ever get, you know, like when you go out on stage and stuff, you obviously get an adrenaline rush. How do you, because like, how would you describe that feeling? And then how do you kind of manage it? I mean, I'm sure obviously by now in this stage of your career, you're all over it. But in the early days, like say your first massive gig, how did you like center yourself? Or like, did you have self-talk? Like, it's all right, I got this. Like, breathe. What was your sort of process with that?
Well, I think when you're young and even when you're a kid, you're just fearless. Like, you just, it's like when you're an adult, you get more scared because you've got more things to actually like think about. But when I was younger, it used to just give me a thrill and I was like, yeah, let's go. Like, always well up for it. The older I got, I started putting into like place mechanisms for myself in terms of like visualization on choreographies, something that my dad actually advised me to do nights before shows and things like that. Because the thing is, if it's not in your brain, there's no way it's in your body. So you have to know that inside out. And just making sure that my muscle memory knows things inside out, so that there could be a pyro on stage, there could be somebody doing something out of place, anything. It doesn't matter because my muscle memory knows and I'm good. It's the trust that I've got with myself.
Right.
I get like nervous bum. My bum gets tingly before
Your bum does.
I just get
Do you have
tingly.
to like wake it
and
up?
I'm just like,
slow
oh,
it?
here we go, nervous bum. But yeah, and then I go straight on and it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's more of like a relationship with myself as opposed to the moment when I step out on stage in the audience, because you can't see them half the time with all the lights. You can hear them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's me just having the trust, like, no, I've got this, you've done this 1,000 times, you're going to smash it.
Yeah. And knowing your like the marks on the stage and all that, like where you've got to be.
Just being super aware. Like, dance is the baseline of being a professional dancer. Like, there's so much more outside of the physicality that you've got to be aware of in order to succeed. It's like constantly multitasking when you're performing.
Yeah.
Which is something that I think over time you can develop as a performer, but it's something that's quite hard in the initial stages.
Yeah.
You just want to get the choreo right. You know what I mean? Like, let me just learn what the movements are, but there's so much more than that.
Can you elaborate a little bit on what else?
Yeah, so obviously like your pickup rate is like your first stage of things, like how well you retain and pick up choreography. And then it's like on top of that, I always say it's like how you're bringing it to life, the choices that you're creating throughout, like your performance on top of that, being able to do it in different directions, being able to reverse parts of it if you need to, like knowing it that well that someone can say, okay, up until the fourth eight, you're doing it originally, but then for the next three eights, you're reversing it. Like you just, that's got to be like a given. And then obviously when you're working in a group and a team, normally there's formations, so your spatial awareness in the space, your awareness of the space and the camera angles. Like there's like a saying to like find the red light as a dancer. So you could be dancing this way, but the camera's here and they need to get that shot. So you need to hold
like
that focus
adjust
until the camera goes, and then you can release back into what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it's like, a plethora of things that are happening.
You have to be so aware, like I guess particularly on TV and live concerts, like anything that's being shot is like having an awareness of that camera.
Exactly. And even pyros and being able to modify what you're doing to accommodate for something in the space that might happen like a last minute. If something changes, if you're on stage with an artist and they walk in a different direction than they normally do, how are you modifying it to make them still look good? Because it's not about you, it's about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know people don't realize, but it's like there's so much going on. And that's just, like through, you know, obviously doing it, performance, and then how you hold yourself, like being a professional and understanding like what you just said. Okay, it's about the artist, got to make them look good. I've got to get out of the way. If I'm, you know, somehow end up in their way because they change direction, it's up to me to move.
Exactly. You might miss an 8 and then it's like you need to know what 8 you're coming back in on because you just moved out the way for the art. Like all of that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. So obviously you also teach when you're in town. Do you teach in other parts of the world actually?
I do. I teach like everywhere.
In LA and stuff. Yeah,
I'd love to teach like more globally as well. I've actually stopped my open classes now. So the only thing I'm teaching is kind of like private tuition or workshops and things like that I'm commissioned out to do. But yeah, I just felt like it was time for me to stop open classes, put my energy back into what I'm doing and what I'm trying to achieve. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So yeah, I definitely do still teach. It's just not as high on my priority list.
Yeah, for sure. It sounds like you're having a bit of a reshuffle this year. Like, I want to focus in this direction. Yeah. That sounds great.
Absolutely.
Are there any styles of dance that you really want to learn that you haven't learned yet, like a partner dance, like tango? Or, I don't know. Like, is there anything that you're like, oh yeah, I really like got to get onto that?
Yeah, I mean, well, I haven't had like, you know. I've always been quite versatile in the styles that I've tried to do, but I was actually talking to my friend the other day and I was saying to him, I've got no partner work on camera or anything, and that's something that I felt like you always need in like films or just generally on commercial jobs, that you're always going to need to be able to dance with a partner. So yeah, that's something that I want to try to get on camera more over the next kind of month or so. Any kind of like lifts and like just some crazy. I sent him this crazy TikTok video the other day. I was like, we're gonna try that lift. And it's like flipping this girl around, and I was like, you're back. We're gonna have to figure that out. But like, so partner work is something that I wanna try more of. But I'm just open. Yeah, I'm so open to try different styles.
Yeah, amazing. I love that. I love that. I love how dancers can just be like, okay, you and me, this weekend we're gonna like do the lift and flip. You're gonna throw me over your shoulder and do a helicopter, and you know, and then I'm gonna land on your knee. Yeah, like
legit. We'll make it work. Just throw me and see what happens.
Yeah. It's also so funny. Like, speaking of social media, but when people, you know, like just regular couples try and recreate, you know, like they're like, oh yeah, the caption's like, this lift is so easy, and then they try and do it, and they're like,
it's
headbutt them.
It's so not. That's, to be fair, the friend I was just talking about, we did a TikTok video the other day, and I just felt like I'm too old for TikTok, and we did like the version of what it is for like 30-plus-year-olds to try and learn a TikTok dance. And we filmed that, and it was like, it's hilarious watching the process.
That. I saw it.
I'm just laughing the whole time. Like, what are we doing?
I know. Oh, hilarious. So obviously, being a woman in entertainment, I ask this question to each guest. What has your experience been? Has it been overall positive? Has it been negative? Like, have you experienced harassment or misogyny, or felt like, you know, like what's the environment been for you, particularly in dance, you know, because often we're like scantily clad at gigs and like you said, like especially early on in your career, like the amount of times I was like you, like in a toilet or in a storage cupboard was another brilliant one, particularly.
It's giving Harry Potter.
Oh my gosh, like literally we were on stilts too. Like this was
Oh
doing
my
circus
gosh.
like in a nightclub on New Year's Eve. And yeah, anyway, we're like literally sitting on crates of wine glasses,
Oh
like
my
because we're up high, like a
gosh.
meter off the ground.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wondered what your experience has been like. You know, like have you felt safe or unsafe, like as a woman in entertainment?
I think I've always had to be like in the beginning. You're kind of just like gas for any job, so you just like
Yeah.
go with the flow, don't you? You're just like,
Yeah.
I'm booked.
Yeah.
For doing what I love. But then over time, there's been like just little things like making sure our changing area is completely covered from all angles, because when
Yeah.
you're doing quick changes, like sometimes you're literally naked.
Yeah.
And obviously you've got all techies and stuff running around, and I
Yeah.
know they're probably way more focused on doing their jobs.
Yeah.
But like, it's very easy for someone to get a quick glance, and I can be a bit prudy sometimes, and I just think there's so much that is accessible to everyone on social media now that like my body as a woman is something that I am like, I cherish this for myself. So like I always make sure that if there's like a curtain that is put across, then that needs to be there to make sure that people aren't seeing us while we're getting changed, or like from above, just like protection for female dancers in that regard. But I have to say, like, I've not ever experienced anything where I've felt kind of unsafe as a woman, to be honest. In the industry, I've been lucky, I guess, to have had a good ride with that. I've had a lot of respectful people along the way, so
That's great. Yeah, and they've obviously had things in place to make sure that you're, you know, safe and well looked after.
Yeah, 100%.
That's really good to hear. Do you know any other female dancers who've had not nice experiences, or?
I don't think so. No, I actually don't. Like, I can't think of anyone that's had something that's. Yeah, no, I really haven't. No.
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
good.
been an issue, but
It's a
maybe
good
that's
thing,
me just
like,
being
one
blind.
win.
It's happened. I don't even know. Like, but yeah,
No.
no, it hasn't. I also think what we were saying about earlier, like, I'm quite back in the day more so would be quite. I'll just say what I think immediately, and I would be very like to the point, straight up. So I don't know whether that's had any sort of protection in me not being like maybe necessarily as easy to kind of
Like you can't mess with you.
Yeah. But then on the same breath, it doesn't mean that if you're not like that, then you're more vulnerable. I don't know. But yeah, I don't think it's really been a major issue for me personally. But I'm sure there's been instances where women have felt that.
Yeah.
And I hope that they've just had the confidence to address it in those moments.
Totally. I think, obviously it depends the venue, depends, you know, the style of dance or the type of audience, how close you are to the audience, or, you know what I mean? Like, I guess when you're on stage, no one can grope you from stage or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? Because they're so far away. But
Yeah, 100%. No,
it's good to hear that it's positive.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I think sometimes when we bring up these discussions, it can sound like, oh my God, it's a horrible world. Or do you know what I mean? Like, especially if you don't hear the positive stories, basically. So it's good to hear the positive stories.
100%. And I also think, like, I don't know, devil's advocate. Like, I really respect and I really value men, and I feel like sometimes if you are dressed in a certain way, that might be quite appealing. So it's like you have to take that someone might stare at you that little bit longer. Like, you are dressed in that, and I think as a woman, that is your responsibility to understand that. And if you don't want that to happen, then maybe don't dress in that regard. So for me, like, supporting men in that way, I think is really important as well.
But women stare too. I mean,
well,
like if people have their boobs out,
Yeah,
like in a G-string, I'll be like, nice butt or whatever.
Exactly.
Like, it's human nature, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't see scantily clad people. You know, same if there's a guy walking around with his torso out, you're like, like nice abs or whatever.
Exactly.
Like, you're gonna look.
Yeah. No, I
get
agree.
that.
Yeah, for me, it's not a topic that's kind of come up as being an issue. But like I said, I'm likely sure that it has been for other people. So I just hope that they haven't experienced anything that's been too untoward.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And so what's your favourite thing about being a dancer and a choreographer?
Oh, favourite thing. the amount of variety, like you were saying earlier, like your day-to-day life is like, I feel like you could just tell stories every day about what you do because it's always so different.
Yeah.
Like even today, like just coming here, I found this amazing new studio, this new space, like on a casual Tuesday night. Like there's always something that you can look forward to or something that's fresh and exciting and new. Which is why I think I love dance. And you're always thrown into these like deep end situations where you don't know necessarily what you're doing, but you just figure it out. And then afterwards you're like, oh my God, I actually did that. Like, that's happened to me so many times where people have been like, oh, can you do this? And in my brain, I'm like, I've never done that before. But you're like, that's fine.
I can totally do that.
Yeah, I can so do that. It's so fine. And then it comes and then you end up being able to do it. It's so many like personal wins mentally and physically as a dancer. All the time. Like you're constantly growing and elevating. And I think as like a human, that's just lit. Like what an amazing experience to just keep pushing forward like that.
Yeah. That's amazing. Do you have any hidden talents or hobbies?
Hidden talents. I can ask for a beer in Kenyan. I don't know if that's a
go on.
talent though, is it? That's more like a thing. It's in what was the Swahili? That was it. So, yeah, basically it's Mataka Mabili Bia Tafandali. And I learned that when I was 5. And it's just stayed with me ever since. And I've not drunk beer.
Right. Why did you learn it at 5?
Because I went to Kenya on this gorgeous family holiday. And, yeah, we had Swahili lessons, basically. I think I was annoying my parents.
Why were they teaching you how to ask for a beer?
I was being, like, annoying. And my parents are just like, oh, just get her away for a sec. And they knew, like, you know, they have, like, the lunchtime classes and things like that. They had it on in the hotel. And I think they were just like, we just need a minute from this child. Like, just put her in that class.
Right.
So, yeah, I learned that. That was iconic. It's not really a talent, but it's...
No, I love that it stuck with you.
Yeah.
I don't think I remember much from being 5 years old, you know.
I know. I mean, I hope it's right. Like, correct me if it's wrong, people. But, yeah, I hope it's right.
I love that.
Yeah.
And any hobbies that you do, like, outside of dance?
Yeah, I read a lot. Like, I'm super into, like, non-fiction. I always get confused between fiction and non-fiction. Yeah, fiction isn't... Yeah, so non-fiction I read a lot of sort of like self-help, like motivating, mind stimulating,
like
human
memory
growth stuff. I love all of that. Massive fan of Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO, shout out. That's what I do a lot in my spare time. And I've also been taking a lot of time to develop, like, outside of being a dancer, my personal life and what I'm trying to achieve as like a human. Outside of dance is what I focused on like this year a lot.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Do you, on that note, because obviously, you know, as you're getting older as a dancer, we feel and maybe fear a bit about how long our bodies can, you know, sustain the kind of workout, I suppose you could say. Because with dance, you know, especially with like popping and stuff, it's like a lot of jerking and it's like, oh, if, you know, like touch wood, as long as you don't get injured. Like, do you see yourself dancing like well into the future, or do you think you'll like take choreography by the reins and sort of go down that path? Or I know you've got your business as well, which I'll ask you about in a minute. But
I'm definitely, so I'm kind of in that stage where I've still got that fire in me for dance. It's still really, really burning, but I'm moving more into, because I've done a lot of kind of like dance captain roles and obviously I've done choreo, but sort of I'm trying to work my way through the assisting to then solidify the choreo stuff more. That's where I'm at the minute. So yeah, I'll dance for as long as I can, but there's something about, I can't explain, like when I'm in a room and I'm like coordinating something from a choreo perspective, I'm just like, this is where I'm meant to be. I'm meant to be doing that. Because there's so much to do with, you know, like changes, formations, and almost like maths, because you're figuring things out as you go. And I just love that. So yeah, I definitely think long game would be to be doing the choreography stuff, movement direction, all of that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely in my, I'm still in my dance thing. I just don't want to let it go.
Oh yeah, but you've still got ages. I mean, you're young, you look good, you're like not injured. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of people or dancers, or you know, like me, like I got injured and that kind of like cut out my dance career. Like I had to change, but it was a blessing. So you know, but I if I hadn't, I'd still be dancing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd be I'm going to dance till I'm 65.
Yeah,
Woo! Like, let's go.
100%.
Because it's, every time you've said that there's nothing like that feeling of dance. Like, I felt that even just, like, I remember as a child, like 7 years old, being like, I'm going to be a dancer because of that feeling.
It's the feeling.
Like, you put on, like you said, music-led. It'd be like, if I was into the music, I'll just go to another planet.
Yeah.
You're just like, like the music is in you and it's making you move and it's
100%. It's like,
incredible.
I don't know, it feels like it's like a weird form of therapy. Like sometimes I can be like, I don't know, in like a bad mood about something and like annoyed me in the morning, something so fickle. And then like I'll take a dance class and that thing literally does not matter.
Yeah.
You can't come out the class and you're like, as if I was pressed about that this morning. Like it doesn't even, it's crazy. I don't know whether that's because like release of endorphins or what, but yeah, it does something magic. And there's so much magic that's happened in my life because of dance.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is like super special. I'm so glad that I do this.
Yeah. It's amazing. I love that. So, can you tell us, I love that you said you're like working on you as a human outside of dance. Do you want to tell us a little bit about like,
So I think I got to the point where, like, I'm working so hard and like, I never really take a huge amount of time to be like, well done, Emily. You've done really good. Like I just don't.
I think that's really common.
Yeah, I just don't. And I think I got to the point where I was like, I need something that is like stable and solid in my life because everything, how the career is all over the gaff. Like you're renting in London, everything is everywhere. There's nothing that is solidified apart from like my family and friends. So I've just bought a house.
Oh, yeah. Round of applause.
Yay.
Round of applause.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I was like,
congrats.
I want my home. I want to build that for myself. I want to understand more about, like developing properties and just doing that as like a thing. Also, I'm getting excited about like curtains.
Yeah.
So
Oh man, home decor is amazing.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I've pushed on my personal life now, and that's going to be kind of happening within the next couple of months, like that journey for me.
So exciting.
And it's just got my roots somewhere finally. I'm like, oh God, paying rent for 10 years. And now I'm like, finally, it's something for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I also feel like just for our industry with dancers, that's something that is not taught about at all. Like we just not part of our career to learn about that sort of stuff because what we do is so not 9 to 5. Like it's, you rent, you do a madness, you fly all over the world, it's that.
Yeah.
So I'd love to be able to kind of offer that experience of what I've been through with the house process to dancers to like help them because it definitely went in fully blind.
Yeah.
No idea.
I think a lot of people do. I mean, we talk about like teaching kids about finance. We should start in high school. Do you know what I mean? Like actually like, okay, get a credit card and save and pay it off. You know what I mean? Like to build, because I certainly didn't have that, like my parents are not that way inclined. Yeah.
It's
good for you.
huge. Thank you. No, I'm super excited. I'm like, finally I've got something for myself.
It's amazing. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm really proud of you.
Thank you so much.
So tell us a bit about your business. It's called Business Behind Dance.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was a platform that I set up in lockdown, where again it always just comes off the back of being like, why doesn't anyone tell anyone this information? Like I've never ever been spoon fed anything along the way. It's been a real graft for me to understand this industry. And I just think at the beginning of my career, if I had certain tools, then it really would have helped me. So I'm like, I'm not like a gatekeeper. I'm like, let me share these tools. Like there's enough room for us all to win. So it was kind of off the back of that, like helping dancers in that way. So I created the platform on Instagram. I've been off it for a while because I've been focused on the house stuff, but then that's something I want to bring back round to it to be like, this is what I've been doing for you guys. So the page has been quiet for a minute, but it's because of this. That's where that's at. And it just helps dancers with the business. So like their CVs, their photos, their show reels, emailing agents, finances.
Like who to contact, like what agents are around.
Yeah, for sure. But I also created my choreography page, e.g. choreography, which that took ages.
Yeah.
It took so long. I had to go through the archives of all the jobs that I did over these years.
Yeah.
So that was kind of, that took precedent also, because again, it was something that I wanted to develop in my area of dance.
Yeah.
So yeah, go check that out.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. I will link all the
Thank
details
you.
below. But yeah, especially I think business behind dance, I think that's brilliant. Like,
Yeah.
for up and coming dancers, and like just even, you know, it's sort of like having a mentor, like someone who's walked the path
Yeah.
already, and then
Yeah.
who's around. Like, I really love also that you said, like, many of my other, you know, women guests on this podcast have said they're not into the gatekeeping stuff, which just makes me so happy, because I don't know what your experience has been, but I have experienced women who do gatekeep, and men.
Yeah.
But I've never been that way oriented, because like you just said, everybody's different, and there's a place
Yeah.
for everyone.
Yeah.
It's like you have something, you have you to offer, which is unique. So
Yeah.
there's no need for the fearfulness around, like, oh, if I give up that job, then they might just book them again, or do you know what I mean? Or
No.
like, if I give them this information, then I'll never get a job. It's like,
Yeah.
you don't have to operate in fear.
No.
It's like, operate in community.
Yeah.
It's better for everyone.
I just give, like, just give. I don't know, I'm like a bit spiritual in that regard, like from a karmic sense. I just think, like, I don't know, it feels natural for me to want to help people anyway. So that isn't something that I have to actively think, like, oh, should I gatekeep this or should I not? It just is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just hope to help people along the way, and then I just think it always finds its way back to you somehow. That's not the intention of why I
100%.
do it, but it always just finds its way back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. I fully believe that. Like, I've lived that, you know, so many times it's happened that I'm like, this is 100% true.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it happens all the time. You're
Legit,
like,
it's actual magic, honestly.
yeah, totally. All right. Just a few more questions to finish up. Is there anything else, dance related or not, that you feel like you want to achieve? Or like something random that you, like, I got to go skydiving or something, like some random thing, like bucket list.
Yeah.
stuff.
Chris Brown tour. I've got
Oh,
to
yeah,
do Chris Brown.
yeah,
I've got to
yeah.
do Chris Brown. I feel like
Yeah,
the whole
yeah.
world knows that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
If you're
dance-
listening, Chris Brown, because he's going to listen to this
Yeah,
podcast.
legit.
Book
No.
her, because she's amazing.
Just one time, even if it's
Yeah.
just a little music video, I'll hang up my boots once that's done. Yeah,
Yeah.
Chris. So Chris for me has always been major, but again because it's music driven.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm so
Yeah.
like if Michael Jackson was still about, it would be him. Like it's
Yeah.
so music driven for me. So yeah, artist work is stuff that I really want to develop into. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen myself as like having necessarily like a dance school per se, but I'm just interested to see how long kind of if I go in the direction and when I go in the direction of the choreo and the movement direction stuff, how long that will last and what that will morph into.
Yeah.
I think I'm not opposed to kind of, I like helping people, so maybe kind of agency kind of role would be cool at some point.
What about film, like
Oh my
choreographing for
gosh,
film?
yes.
I could
That's on
see
a
you doing that. I just
major
feel like
bucket list for this year, artist
Yeah.
and film. Like I've not
Yeah.
done a film before. That's really
Yeah.
funny you say that, because that's exactly what I want to do
I
this
could
year.
just see you in that role. I don't
Yeah.
know. I feel like there's somehow that will make it happen. You
Yeah.
just like
That's really weird
choreograph,
you
you know,
said that,
for a
yeah.
dance film or whatever it is, like a scene in a film, in a ball, or, you know.
Yeah,
would be
100%
amazing.
films is where I'm at. I mean, obviously we had the writer's strike, didn't we, last year,
Yeah.
which stopped the
It's been
world.
a bit of a mess.
Yeah. But now that that's obviously not on the cards, for me to be in a film, yeah, that would literally just be amazing for me. I'd love to
Okay, that
experience
one's going on the mood board.
Yeah.
Like
Film
2024.
artists. Yeah, 100%. That would be the two main things that I think are the goal for this year. Because I think I'm also really like an advocate for not spreading myself too thin on like, I want to do this. Like it's like
Yeah.
just focusing, put my energy towards those things or something better that higher power has planned for me. Is those two things or more basically. Yeah.
That's so true. It's such a point. I feel like particularly when you're like a like self-employed artist, let's say, or
Yeah.
freelancer, it's really easy to just take on like another project and another project and
Yeah.
another project and
Yeah.
another project.
Yeah.
And we're just so used to saying yes. Because I
Yeah.
guess particularly when you start out, you do have to do that. But then, you know, like you were saying before, you rarely sort of give yourself a pat on the back.
Oh,
like,
like,
look how far
never.
I've come. Like, look how far we've come. Yay.
Never, yeah.
You know?
It's always when's the next thing? When's the
Yeah.
next, like, oh yeah, I did that, but okay, when's the next one? And it's like, whoa, just take a beat. Like, you actually did that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
It's
I mean,
a
I guess,
common thread, I
yes.
think. Yeah. I guess because we're all sort of chasing like, well, one day I won't have to think about when the next thing is coming because I'll have set
Yeah.
myself up for retirement or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But
Or
until
maybe it
that
is the
point,
high that we're chasing. So then when we don't
also.
have that, it's like, what's happening?
Yeah.
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 Maybe it's a combination of both. But yeah, because I feel like like you just said, we won't have to do that at some point. It's like that hustle period. You just go, aren't you?
Yeah.
And then there'll be a point where you can just reap the rewards, hopefully, and just chill. But I don't know if it ever really ends.
I was just going to
don't
say, because I
know.
like what you just said, because I was just thinking for myself too.
Yeah.
It's actually, I'm just excited to do all these things. I'm like, yeah, I really want to do that. Yeah. Are you doing that? Yeah, let's do that. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. Yeah, I want to do that too. I totally want to do that. Like, it's just because you're passionate about like, you know, you're lucky enough to do something that you actually seriously love doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel the same.
I just can't even, because that's always been the way that my world has been. I can't imagine what it would be like not doing something that I love. So that's why I think I'm always like, oh, it has to be what I love all the time.
So, yeah.
Next thing. Like, yeah.
I
It's
get
crazy.
that. I love that.
Yeah, it's mad.
Awesome. So, 2 more questions.
Yeah.
Do you have, and it sounds like the answer to this is no, but do you have any regrets?
Regrets? No.
Like a missed opportunity or something that you're like,
No, because everything that is like for me is going to happen in the time that it's meant to. I think you learn, like, I've learned so much with like age and growing up in terms of like patience and navigating situations that I just wouldn't have known like 10 years ago. So I think everything is where it needs to be in terms of my timeline. So I can't regret things because I've had to go through them to learn to be what I am now. So yeah, no, you just keep it pushing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that outlook on life and that positivity.
Yeah.
So, final question, what advice would you give to someone who is wanting to make a career out of dance and be a choreographer? Like, what do you think are the, you know, like, I don't know, approach to discipline, what you need to start with, like how your attitude should be, all that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
Like how to conduct yourself.
If you're 99.9% sure that you want to do it, don't do it, because you need to be 110 in, like, because there is so many people that are 2 feet jumping deep into this. So if there's that slight like reticence or that, I don't know if this is for me, like it's got to be in your soul, in your veins, in your blood. Like it feels like home to you. That's what I would say. It's like, it's part of you. It's who you are, because that is what's going to be your drive in the quiet moments and like your why for why you're continuing to be on this roundabout. Yeah.
Merry-go-round, yeah.
Because that fire, like I said, it's got to keep burning super, super bright, because the industry can be really hard. But like now, for example, like if I like book a job now, I still feel like a child at Christmas that's just got, I'm like, oh my, like I still get that excited.
Yeah.
So I'd say that you've just got to be really, really hungry, really passionate, very thick-skinned. So you will get a million more no's than you will yeses. So you've got to be super like, cool, on to the next, can't deep it.
Yeah.
Take things from it where, you know, you might learn that it's because of something that you've done and embody that and change it. But don't internalize it and think it's something about you, because sometimes it can be your hair's the wrong color, you're too small in height. Like it can be really fickle.
It's just...
just be a lovely person, professional, treat everyone around you with like kindness, because the amount of times in, you know, the industry where someone's working in one department that you might deem is not, you know, not relative to you, they're then the next high-end producer on, you know, like, so it's having that awareness and just being open-minded, I think, because I think things come to you through channels in which you don't expect sometimes. So you've got to be more open-minded to allow things like that to come in. So yeah, I think that's it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Everything you're saying, I'm just like, yeah, I totally agree. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It's okay. Thanks for
You're
having me.
amazing. Yeah. Give it up, family.
Thank you.
Awesome. Oh, awesome, babe.
Thanks.
You're great.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
really
that.
nice to like get to know you better a bit. Your journey and your
I could just talk
philosophy.
for
I've got to
hours.
say, I just love that. Like, and honestly, I can say it's been like really similar. All the women just really, like you said, like open, like, and maybe it's a thing because of being in entertainment. You have to be that way inclined. Like, invite opportunity. Don't have expectation of like where it might come from, but. Yeah, always be kind because you never know. Like they all say that, very similar things. I'm like, yeah, like
There's
women
a
in
pattern here.
entertainment are awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's really cool.
It's because there was a time where I felt like I wasn't. Like I felt like I was quite like narrow-minded, very particular, very da-da-da-da, and I'm like, that just doesn't work.
Right.
It just doesn't work.
It must be also because everyone I've interviewed is experienced as well. Like they've been in the
Okay.
industry 10 years or more.
Oh, fine. It's that 10-year mark.
So, yeah, and
it flips some
experience.
sort of switch where you're just like, I need to be open. To all sorts. Like,
Ladies and gentlemen.
you just never know who's watching. It's crazy.
The greatest showwoman.